So someone sent me a Which magazine article on creatine this week. And one of the questions I had this week was all about creatine. So I could tell from the message I got, the question wasn't really about creatine. The question was the question behind the question. So what they're really asking is, Rob, do I need to be taking this now? Like, have I missed something? Is this something I should have been doing all along? And am I falling behind? And I get it, because when a consumer magazine like Which starts rating supplements the way we rate washing machines, it feels kind of official. It feels like you're supposed to care. And so what I thought we'd do today is talk about that properly. So here's what actually happens when you read that article, and I'll put it up on screen so you can see it. You see phrases like authorized health claim for adults over 55, and your brain goes, oh, this is for me now. This is something that happens when you get older. And suddenly creatine isn't just a tub of powder. It's a reminder that you've somehow crossed some invisible line and you're in the over 55 category now. The one where things need enhancing or fixing. And that's the little bit that stings, right? It's not the supplement. It's that feeling that you've been moved into a different tier of human being, one that needs more stuff just to help you stay on an even keel. But here's the thing, and I mean this, the science on creatine hasn't changed. You haven't changed. What's changed is the marketing has finally figured out there's a market for people in our age group who lift weights and give a shit about staying strong. That's it. That's the whole story. Creatine works exactly the same way at 25 as it does at 55. The difference is nobody's selling a 25-year-old a solution to aging. What they're selling is a performance tool, and that's exactly what it is. So here's the science bit. But I'm going to keep this as human as possible. Your muscles need energy to contract. That energy comes from something called ATP. When you do anything explosive, sprint, jump, lift something heavy, you burn through that ATP really fast. Creatine helps you regenerate ATP quicker. That's it. It doesn't build muscle. It doesn't make you stronger while you're sitting on the sofa. What it does is it lets you get 1 or 2 more reps in before that muscle just taps out. And if you can get that extra rep, you've done more work, and more work over time means more strength means more muscle. But notice what I just said, if you're doing the work. Creatine enhances the effects of resistance training. That's the claim, and it's true. But if you're not training, there's nothing to enhance. So when the Which article says it can enhance the effects of resistance training in adults over 55, that's accurate. But it's also accurate for over 25, over 35, over 45. The reason they're mentioning 55 is because that's when most people start worrying about losing muscle, not because creatine suddenly becomes more useful. It's always been useful. You just didn't think you needed it before. Right, so who should take it? If you're training properly and not just going through the motions, and you want to squeeze a little bit more out of your sessions, creatine is fine. It's cheap, it's generally safe, and it works. If you don't eat much meat, not much fish, you might benefit a bit more because you're not getting dietary creatine. Vegetarians and vegans often see a slightly bigger bump from supplementing. If you're someone who's generally trying to hold on to strength and muscle as you age and you're already doing the hard stuff, lifting consistently, eating enough protein, sleeping, then yeah, creatine's a reasonable addition. But, and this is really important, it's not going to do the work for you. If you're not training properly, creatine is not going to come and be your savior. If you're not eating enough, creatine won't save you. If you're stressed to bits and sleeping 5 hours a night, creatine won't come and save you either. It's a small lever, but it's a good lever, but it's a small one. And here's the bit that doesn't get said enough. Most people don't need more things. They need to do the things they're already doing, but a bit better. If you're not lifting weights at all, don't start with creatine. Start lifting weights. If you're lifting weights, but you're barely eating any protein, don't start with creatine. Sort your protein out. Creatine is for people who've got the big stuff already sorted and want to optimize. It's not a rescue mission for your body. Now, the article mentions brain fog and cognitive function. Some people swear by creatine for mental clarity, especially during menopause. The science on this is interesting, but it's not settled. Your brain uses creatine for energy, the same as your muscles. And there is some evidence that if you're sleep deprived or vegetarian or going through something hormonally intense like menopause, supplementing with creatine might help with mental fatigue. Might. But we're not at the point yet where I'd say, if you've got brain fog, take creatine. I'd say, if you've got brain fog, look at your sleep, look at your stress, look at your blood sugar, look at whether you're eating enough. And if you've done all that and you're still curious, then fine. It's okay to try because it's generally safe. Like I said, it's cheap. And the worst case is nothing happens. But don't let it become the thing you focus on when the real issue is you're running on fumes and trying to solve it with some mysterious powder. If you decide to take it, here's what you need to know. Get creatine monohydrate. It's the one that's been studied to death. It's the cheapest and it works. You don't need fancy versions. You don't need gummies. You don't need advanced formulas. Just creatine monohydrate powder. It's so cheap. You can get it on Amazon. Don't spend a lot of money on it. The dose is 3 to 5 grams every day. And I mean every day. It's not a pre-workout. You don't take it just when you train. You just take it and mix it in with water, fruit juice, coffee, a protein shake. It doesn't matter. There's this thing called loading. And some people like to do this. And it's where you take 20 grams a day for a week to saturate your muscles faster. And you can do that if you want. But you can also just take 5 grams a day and get the result over the same period of time. It's not urgent, but it does take time to build up in your muscles. So that's why you take that particular dose. Some people get a bit of water retention when they start. That's normal. It's not fat, and it usually settles down after a couple of weeks. And it's genuinely that simple. Look, if you read the Which article and you felt you'd missed something, you haven't. Creatine isn't a secret to aging well. Resistance training is, eating properly is, sleeping enough is, and so is managing stress. Creatine is just a tool that makes resistance training slightly more efficient. And if you're doing resistance training properly and you want to add to it, fine, go for it. But if you're not lifting weights at all and you're barely eating, completely wrecked from shit sleep, creatine is really not your priority. Fix the big stuff first, and then if you want to optimize, you can optimize. So don't let consumer magazines make you feel like you're failing at aging because you're not taking a supplement. You're not failing, you're just being sold to. Right, that's it. That's creatine. So if you've got questions, stick them in the comments or bring them to the next session. And if that was useful, by all means, share this info with people who need to hear it. I'll see you next time and have a great week.